Look who is here, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday mornings mean it is time for Ron the Car Guy to pay us a visit and teach you a little something about your car that you'll take away and go, oh, really? I didn't know that. And so this morning, Ron, we're talking about people that are going to be traveling in the next several weeks.
Absolutely. And the eventually, or at some point, I think winter is going to arrive.
Some point.
Yeah, and that'll cause some issues too. But I want to talk a little bit about roadside assistance. Because the numbers there are probably larger than people realize. Last year in the United States, in 2014, AAA responded to over 29 million roadside assistance calls.
29 million?
Across the country.
Across the country, 29 million calls, and that was just AAA. That doesn't factor in, your
anybody
other
else.
Exactly. AAA alone had 29 million calls in 2014. And as many of you know, Westside Auto Pros were a contractor for AAA for roadside assistance, have been for almost 9 years. We do over 10,000 calls a year.
Wow.
My business does.
Do those get broken
AAA.
down at all as to what those calls?
They do. And nationally, for the AAA calls, 17 million of the 29 million were for a battery failure.
So overwhelming majority.
Yeah. So the easiest way to avoid roadside assistance calls would be to have your battery tested, and just make sure that it's not going to give you trouble, especially as we go into the cold weather.
Right.
In Des Moines, the average lifespan of a battery is 4 years and 2 months. That's how long the average
But will
battery
it tell you
lasts.
anything, or will it just tell you that your battery's currently?
Well, a professional tester will tell you two things. It'll tell you the state of charge, how much electricity's charged in the battery, and that's on a percentage basis. And then it also tells you the state of health. And I guess the way to look at that, charge is how much electricity is in there to come out and start your car. And health is how long that electricity will last to try to start your car. If you've got, has to crank extra amount of time, maybe you got worn spark plugs or something like that. But batteries themselves give you virtually no warning anymore.
Right.
I remember when I was younger, you'd start getting some warnings. It'd turn over a little bit slower in the morning.
Okay.
And now you go out and it's just, it worked fine yesterday. Yeah, I'm done.
Is that mainly because of the electronics in the cars?
Exactly. And batteries are made a little bit differently. But yeah, everything on cars is electronic anymore, even power steering on a lot of vehicles. And so the battery it works really, really, really hard, and then all of a sudden one day it's like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to work anymore.
Now, how can somebody tell how old their battery is?
That's a great question. On every battery, there's either a sticker or it's stamped in the side of the case.
It's like melted into the side of the case.
Exactly. Yeah, like a brand, branded.
So you can't remove it.
Correct.
In a lot of cases.
Correct. And sometimes they have a backup sticker on there too, but it'll have a letter and a number, and so it'll have like B5, and the letter is the month. So January's A, February's B, and so on. And then the 5 would be the last digit of the year. So if your battery said B5, it was manufactured in February of 2015. And so that's a great way to take a look at it. But we see batteries that are a year and a half old that have failed. It depends on how the car's used. What we'll see a lot as we roll into holiday shopping is we'll get calls out to the malls or the strip malls where the people are shopping, and one of the people in the car went inside to do some shopping. The other person decided to sit outside and listen to the radio. And he had the car in the accessory position, listened to the radio for 30 or 45 minutes, and the battery went dead. Well, you can jump start that vehicle, but if your battery goes dead after listening to the radio for a half hour, there wasn't much there to begin.
You
need to replace your battery anyway.
Exactly. You should go ahead and replace that. So the other leading cause of roadside assistance is tires. We get a ton of calls where we go out oftentimes on the interstate to change a tire. A tire blew out, a flat tire, and AAA did a study. They said 60% of motorists don't check their tire pressure.
Is that the result of low tire pressure?
Absolutely. If you have a tire that blows out on the interstate, it's always because it was low on pressure, low on air. You might have been driving down the interstate and picked up a nail or something, but when the tire gets low, then heat builds up inside because it's not properly inflated, and it causes the tire to blow out.
It comes apart.
Exactly. And it amazes me the number of travelers that we see, along the I-80 35 corridor, and we'll go out to change a tire that's blown out, and I mean there's virtually no tread left on that tire, and there's no tread on the other 3 tires. I mean they're all really low, and these people are traveling across the country,
right.
and they're oblivious to the fact that their tires are in that bad a shape.
Wow.
I mean, it makes you wonder who's looking after their car, because they just assume that their tires are good, or maybe they haven't checked somewhere. I don't know the backstory, but we see that quite often is, people are driving on tires that I wouldn't drive on. So, going into this time of year, if your tires get down to about 4/32 seconds tread depth, you better be looking at replacing them, just from a traction standpoint and a safety standpoint, driving down the road.
Abe Lincoln's head on a penny, is that right?
That's right. Put a penny upside down into the tread, and if you can see Abe's forehead, you need tires. That's a great way to look at them.
Now, anything else that comes to mind too when people need assistance?
Out of gas. 500,000 calls in the U.S. last year for out of gas through AAA. Even though most cars have a low fuel light on them, people see how far they can go. And then this was kind of interesting. I thought it was low because we see more of it here, and maybe it's because we have ethanol, the E85 as well. 13,000 vehicles. AAA towed 13,000 vehicles in 2014 because it had the wrong fuel in them.
Oh, boy.
So
that could be a couple of different things.
Yeah. Outside of the Midwest, it's probably more someone put diesel or put gas in a diesel, but here we've got the E85,
right.
and I think we see more of them, here in Iowa than we do in other places.
And the engine's gone at that point, right?
No, not necessarily. What we have noticed is the car will usually make it 4 to 6 blocks,
and then the engine's running.
and then it gets towed in, and it wreaks a lot of havoc on the fuel system. But the engine will usually survive.
I see.
So
It's just not going to run. Until you get the
correct.
right
Yeah,
stuff
you're doing
in there.
fuel pump and maybe some injectors.
And these all seem to be really easy things to get checked out.
Everything's preventable.
Right.
Have your tires checked. Make sure that the air pressure is good and the tread's good. Have your battery tested. Most really good shops are testing batteries now when cars come in for an oil change. But if you don't know, ask them. Hey, did you test my battery?
And now, how far of a radius do you guys go out and give assistance with your vehicles? Because I see your vehicles everywhere.
For the most part, our area, we cover Van Meter to Mitchellville and Polk City to south of Norwalk.
All right.
You said 29 million in 2014 AAA call. That many phone calls. That's 80,000 a day. That's 3,300 an hour calls to AAA, and 55 per minute. So,
wow.
So the phone rings about every second at AAA.
Yeah,
So what are you doing here? You got to get to work.
How many people live in the country, Jason?
300.
300. So that's almost 1 in 10.
Yeah, and that's how many people.
Yeah.
They're not all driving. They don't all have cars.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, what if people do need to get in touch with AAA through Westside Auto Pros? I know you guys have a really easy number.
Well, you can either call AAA or you can call. We've got a 24-hour number. It's 515-309-1911, and that's the guys that do this for me, my employees.
They're fantastic.
They're awesome, and they
know me as the girl who always locks her keys in the car.
Okay, and that's another one that's on your list here.
Yeah,
The keys are on there too.
Keys in the car. Yeah.
That's me.
That's third on the list. It's batteries, tires, and then keys locked in the car.
You're
All right, so if
welcome.
you need some assistance, just put it in your phone now so you have it.
I'm doing it.
309 and then 1911. There you go. 309-1911. Very good, Ron the Car Guy. Perfect.
Thank you
sir.
so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome as usual.